Good evening and welcome to ECISD Live. My name is Scott Muri and I'm the superintendent of Ector County Independent School District, and it's a pleasure to have you with us this evening. We've got a really great show with some amazing experts that you're going to have a chance to meet in a few minutes. And our focus tonight is really on you, mom and dad, and aunt, uncle, grandparent, whoever the adult is in the lives of our children. We want to talk to you tonight about how you can support your children through their journey in ECISD, from pre-K 3 all the way through the senior year in high school. We're going to talk to you tonight about supporting kids and helping them be successful. But before we get into that, we've got a few quick announcements that we'd like to share with everyone this evening. First of all, Tuesday night, we had a school board meeting and our trustees were pretty busy doing a lot of things. One of the things that they did on Tuesday night was to pass a resolution that allowed for each of the employees, the 4,200 employees of ECISD, to be paid for the work that they did last week. Many of you know we were closed physically because of the snow and ice conditions, but our teachers and administrators provide lessons and activities for students throughout the week. But our bus drivers and cafeteria workers and others were unable to perform their duties. And we wanted to make sure that they still were compensated, and as it would have negatively affected them if they weren't paid for the weekend. So our board of trustees passed a resolution that allowed for their payment last week. And we really appreciate the 7 members of the board of trustees for doing that. It certainly made a big difference in the lives of each of the employees and their families. So kudos to our board members for making that decision. In addition, on Tuesday night, we also talked about some big, bold, and brave actions that we're taking as a school district. Several schools in ECISD are struggling right now academically. And so we've developed a program with a team of our teachers, administrators, and others within the school system. We've received a little over $2 million in grant funding to pay for some exciting opportunities for students at Burnett Elementary School, for Bowie Middle School, and for Bonham Middle School. Again, details were discussed with our trustees on Tuesday night. Parents, you've received a letter from your child's school. If you haven't seen that yet, I hope you take a look at that. But we have got some really incredible plans in place next year for Burnett Elementary, for Bowie and Bonham Middle School, and anxious to bring those plans to fruition. Excited to see the opportunities that and the challenges that will lie ahead, and opportunities for our kids. Parents, we want to remind you, next week, Tuesday, March 2nd, is an early release day. Kids will start school in the morning as they normally do, but around the noon hour, we're going to let them go so that our teachers can engage in some professional learning opportunities. One of the things we've heard from our teachers this year is the importance of professional learning, and we wanted to create some more time and give them some opportunities to continue to grow and develop their skills so that they can be better as they work with your children. So once again, Tuesday, March the 2nd will be an early release day in ECISD. And then Friday, March 5th, that you can see on the screen, is an early release day for OC Techs and OCA. So once again, Tuesday, next week, early release for our kids. And speaking of calendar, another thing that our board of trustees did on Tuesday night was to approve the school calendar for the 21-22 school year. That calendar is now posted on the ECISD website, so I would encourage all of you to visit that calendar. A couple of really exciting things are built into next year's calendar. One of them comes from the learning that we did during the pandemic. We phased in, as you know, our students. In August, when we started school, we started with just 4,000 of our students, and over weeks, we brought more and more of our students in. Well, that was a really healthy process for kids. And so next year, we're going to use the same phase-in process, but focus specifically on 2 different groups of kids in our system. First, at the middle school level, we're going to bring our 6th graders back on the first day of school, but not our 7th and 8th graders. We want to give our 6th graders an opportunity to become adjusted to their new school, get to know the staff, kind of the rules, the procedures, how to do middle school successfully. We're going to spend 2 full days with our middle school students in the 6th grade on those 2 first days of school. And then at the high school level, we're going to do the same thing with our freshmen. So our freshmen will come to school on the very first day, but not our sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So you'll get to sleep late for 2 more days. But all of our freshmen will come on that first day. They'll have a chance to get to know their teachers, get to know routines, get to know the school. And so by the time the sophomores, juniors, and seniors arrive, the freshmen will have a good understanding of what high school is like and how it operates. So some other exciting components of the master calendar for next year, I encourage you to visit that. It is located on the ECISD website. And as we transition now, one thing that is on our calendar next year is that we're going to welcome in 1,000 brand new students to ECISD. And these students are 3-year-olds. So for the very first time, we are welcoming 3-year-old students to ECISD in a pre-K format. Well, what is pre-K? Let's start there. So moms and dads, and those of you that have really young children in your family, maybe your kids this right now are the ages of 2 and 3, so pre-K is not yet an opportunity for them. We want to start our conversation with pre-K tonight. We've got 2 experts joining us. One is the director of our pre-K program, and the other is a real live pre-K teacher. She teaches our 3 and 4-year-olds at Austin Montessori. So we'd like to welcome Beatrice Mata. Again, Beatrice oversees all of our pre-K programming in ECISD. And then Jessica Moreno. Jessica is a teacher of our 3 and 4-year-olds, again, at Austin Montessori. So welcome, ladies. It's a pleasure to have both of you with us this evening. Beatrice, I want to start with you with question number 1, and that is, what is pre-K? Why is it important, and what is it all about in ECISD?
Dr. Muri, my favorite quote is, "The greatest gifts we can give our children are the roots of responsibility and the wings of independence." That's our goal in pre-K every single day. We really want to hone in on just nurturing the whole child. Research shows that what happens in the first 5 years has a profound impact in life and in academics throughout one's career and beyond. And so we really want to make sure that we are honing in on really developing and getting a jump start on those milestones at an early age. That's the goal that we have for each and every one of our students.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. You talked a little bit about brain research, and the research says really between the ages of 0 and 5, a little over 80% of your brain is developed in those first 5 years. And so that pre-K experience is pretty important. Beatrice, next year we welcome 3-year-olds for the first time. Tell us about that. Why 3-year-olds? And then what does that look like in ECISD?
Well, so, okay, bringing in 3-year-olds has been a very exciting opportunity, especially jumping in to this department this year. We've really formed a very solid relationship with partners within our community. And again, this is just a big community-wide effort. Whenever we target 3-year-olds, we're really targeting and building our community. And so to build lifelong learners, our goal each and every day is to really set that foundation so that students love to learn. We teach them the foundations of, looking at patterns to start building upon mathematics. We give them read alouds so that they can start visualizing and using imagery. We are really honing in on all parts of not only the core curriculum, but we're also teaching them their fine motor skills, gross motor skills, how to throw a ball, catch a ball, and using a pencil grip, and just communicating with their peers. And that's something that our kids don't get at home. Many times, we have devices and we have other things that take our attention at home, but at school we bring our kids into these collaborative environments so that they can learn how to interact and share, how to answer the door, talk to their teacher, and just learn how to verbalize what their needs and wants are. So
as we watch this video, there are a lot of manipulatives, a lot of things for our 3 and 4-year-olds to do in that pre-K environment. And I'm not sure a lot of homes are equipped quite like an ECISD PreK Classroom is equipped. Well, one of the things that a PreK Classroom is equipped with is a teacher, a real live teacher. And so, Jessica, you are one of those. You serve 3 and 4-year-olds every day in ECISD. So first, thanks for joining us tonight. And tell us about a typical day in the life of a pre-K student. What is it like?
A pre-K's day is controlled chaos. I am the chaos coordinator, and I see so much growth in the little ones. But their day starts with them arriving independently, walking into the building, walking into the classroom. They put away their own bags and take out their folders from their bags. So they do all this independently. They come in and have breakfast. They journal, write their name. After we have had breakfast and we've written our name, we join together for some group time and we discuss our day. We have calendar time and we count. We sing songs about the days of the weeks, the months of the year. We talk about past, present, future. We check in with one another to see how we are feeling. And after we have had our morning meeting, we then have some time to do our independent work time. And that's where the students are working independently or collaboratively with hands-on materials. They're exploring things that are of their interest. And at this time, they're also getting individualized lessons from myself. And so they're using this Montessori work period to work, explore. They have got some pre-math works and some pre-literacy works that they're working on. And after we've had our work cycle, we spend some time outdoors if the weather permits and have some recess time, which they also get a chance to socialize a little bit more. And it's not so controlled. And after we have our recess, we enjoy some lunch. And after lunch, we have our rest time for the little ones. They need that. After rest time, we get to go to our special areas, which includes library and music and PE, and they really do enjoy that time. After that, we transition back to the classroom and we have another whole group time where we have science lessons, social studies lessons, we do some read alouds, we have some new vocabulary shared with one another, and then it's snack time and it's time to go home. But during that whole day, they're interacting with one another and they're learning in a language-rich environment, and they are absorbing everything that they can during the day.
They are busy, it sounds like. So nap time probably comes in handy because I can tell you've got them exhausted by the time the day goes. I'm actually tired after listening to all that they have to do. That's pretty impressive. One of the things that we talk about, Jessica, in ECISD is getting our kids ready for kindergarten. In fact, we actually measure something called kindergarten readiness. And so as you think about a pre-K or at the end of the year, what are some of the skills that they've learned during their pre-K that gets them ready for kindergarten?
Well, some of the academic skills that we would love for them to have is, knowing their basic numbers, 0 to 10, having at least 12 letter sounds where they can identify the sound of the symbol of the letter. We also want them to be able to write their name. But then you've got those social emotional skills that we want them to have. We want them to be able to compromise and to be able to wait their turn and to be able to share things and self-regulate their little big emotions that they have. Those are the kinds of things that we expect them to have by the end of their pre-K year, which prepares them for kindergarten. But I always remind myself that our pre-K year is not necessarily for that academic success. We don't expect them to know all of their letters and all of their sounds. We really want to develop that well-rounded child who is ready to explore and who wants to question their surroundings and just loves learning.
Yep, good. And again, that's being ready for kindergarten. And so, it's not only the academic skills, but those social emotional skills that you mentioned are critically important to help a child be ready to be successful in kindergarten. So thank you for sharing that with us. Beatrice, before we transition away from pre-K, just a couple of logistical questions. We next year are bringing in 3-year-olds, but we didn't have enough elbow room. So talk about our partnership that we announced about a month ago.
Okay, so partnership it's very exciting. We're working with the YMCA and to really form, just collaboration amongst our community so that we can serve more 3-year-old students. This is something that we've been working on every single day behind the scenes. And our goal is to ensure that we have everything in place, which is the facility, the tools that our students need to be successful, and
Yep.
just the environment and the personnel to open our doors on day one to greet your children, and welcome them into not only the facilities, within ECISD, but also through the Y. And what our goal is to have you come into any facility within the district, including the YMCA, and just feel like you're part of a collaborative community. And again, that's something that we're working towards each and every day.
Good. So a question about where is pre-K in ECISD? So we have Carver and Lamar, which are 2 pre-K centers. So the entire school at Carver and Lamar filled with pre-Kers. But because we, again, ran out of elbow room, how many other elementary schools can we find pre-K?
In total, we have 20 elementary schools that serve pre-K, 18 elementary schools and 2 of our early childhood centers. And so 20 in all, Mr.
So
Dr.
20 schools. Lamar and Carver, they're full pre-K, but 18 additional elementaries, including Austin Montessori, one of those 18 elementaries. Ladies, thank you for sharing the pre-K story with us tonight. It's pretty important. I guess one final thing I'll say is talk about funding for pre-K. In the state of Texas, pre-K is only funded for kids that are eligible. And an eligible child, there are 6 different categories of eligibility, but primarily kids of poverty. So if a child qualifies as an economically disadvantaged student, they qualify for free pre-K. And there are a few other categories, but if they don't qualify, then we do charge students for pre-K simply because the state doesn't fund pre-K. For anyone that is not qualified. So again, ladies, thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to transition. We're going to go from pre-K to elementary and middle school all at the same time. We've got 2 experts at the middle school and elementary level that are going to join us, Kara Witten and Casey Alexander. Kara is a teacher at Ireland Elementary School. I think, Kara, you may have a little fan club that's watching tonight. And then Casey Alexander is at Nimitz Middle School. Casey, you probably have a fan club watching tonight from Nimitz too. So ladies, thank you for joining us tonight. I want to talk about some ways that an elementary parent and a middle school parent can support their children on this journey. And I want to start with a tool, some information based upon a tool that we use at ECISD. We just finished the 2nd administration of what we call the MAP assessment. It's the measure of academic progress. And so all of our kids at the elementary middle school level have taken the MAP assessment. And then you as teachers, you've seen those data. And so let's start with Kara. Let's start with you first. Tell us from a teacher perspective, what is the MAP assessment and what does it do for you and then your students?
Okay, so adding on from pre-K, I teach kindergarten. So what the MAP assessment tool is it takes a snapshot of the child's academic level. So not all kindergartners that I receive have experienced pre-K. So what this MAP assessment tool does is it scores them on where they are, and then it helps me as an educator to meet them at the level that they're on, and then just a scaffold, meaning like I can just help them grow from there. Then after that, we get to take another screenshot of that assessment in the middle of the year. So it lets us see how much they've grown from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. And then it helps us again to see if we're still making growth or maybe not making as much growth and what we can do to help them continue to succeed. And then the best thing about that is we get to do it one more time at the end of the year. And then it helps us just one more time see what we need to do to get them ready for when they go to 1st grade. Just continue from there.
Great. Kara, Casey, let me ask you about your students. Do you share this MAP data with your students at all, or how are they engaged in this process?
Hi, Dr. Murray. Yes, I share the MAP data results with my students and parents. My parents are really excited to get this data, but I enjoy talking with them about it because often our parents are not understanding what it really is telling them.
Yep. Yep. Hey, and since you mentioned that, I'm going to bring up a screen, and I want you to help us understand it tonight. So we've sent home the map data with all of our parents. So moms and dads, as you watch tonight, you should have in your hands a copy of your child's map information. Again, it's from kindergarten really all the way through 10th grade. And so you've got that information in front of you. And it's called the family report. This is a sample, as you can see tonight. But I want to scroll down, Casey, and let's look at math first. And so we're looking at a child. Let me see his name. So Christopher is this child's name. He is a fictitious child. He attends Smith Elementary School. He's a 4th grader, but we're going to pretend he's 6th grade. And so he took the map assessment in the fall, which all of our students did. And then now he's taken it in the winter. And that's what parents are seeing. So tell me about Christopher. If your child was Christopher, what would this be telling you about his progress in mathematics?
Okay, so Christopher is improving in mathematics. He's in the 47th percentile, which means that he's performing at the same level or higher than most peers in his norm grade level.
In fact, if you look, this dotted line kind of is that national average. So you could see Christopher is below the national average, and there's why he's in the 47th percentile. So parents, as you're looking at the report, that dotted line, it represents where 4th graders in the United States are typically located. Yeah.
Yes, it is showing his growth, which he did have high growth, but he's still in a low achievement compared to his peers.
Yeah, look at that. Way on the right side, parents are looking at this, that 96. So yeah, that's high growth. He grew a lot, didn't he?
Yes, absolutely. He did. But looking at his data, from a teacher point of view, it would be up to me to come up with the activities and the extensions and the remediational activities and resources for him. We've got to get him up to the national average or above.
Yep. So what would you recommend? So a mom and dad are listening tonight, and they are the parents of Christopher. And while he improved, he's still not where he needs to be. And so what kind of advice would you give to parents? How could they support Christopher at home?
Probably, Dr. Muri, the biggest thing is have conversations with Christopher's teacher. One really invaluable thing about this data is that on the teacher's end, it breaks it down, not only maybe the needs of Christopher, but also his strengths. And that allows us to really hone in on the skills that he's going to need for him to be successful. And that's going to be different for every child. Areas that he is good at or maybe excels in, then the teacher can give the parents ideas and also create a curriculum that's going to push him even further in those areas as well. And that's one really good thing about the MAP test. It doesn't just point out the weaknesses, but the strengths as well.
So you as a teacher know exactly how Christopher is doing in mathematics, what his strengths are, and then what his opportunities for growth are.
Absolutely.
And you can share that with a parent.
Yeah, I would love to.
Good.
Teachers would love to share that. Yes.
That's great. That's great to hear. Kara, let's talk about a kindergartner, and let's move on down to reading. And so this is, again, still Christopher. We'll pretend he's in kindergarten now. And so he started the year 185, but right now he's at 184. So that line is pretty flat. And so tell me about what would you say to the parent who, if they're looking at their child's map data, they really didn't change much from the fall to the winter?
Right. So the best thing about this tool is it lets us as a teacher see exactly where they're scoring at. And it lets us see on our side skills that they could work on to help them maybe make that dot as they see go up. So when I'm in communication with my parents, and if they have a situation like that, I give them strategies at home that they can work on as well that I'm already working on with them to try to get that up. And it just gives you very detailed things to keep it simple for them to understand. And like she had just said earlier, it's all about that communication with the parent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so actually, Kara, you are a parent. You've got your own, right? So from a parent, and you have a child in the second grade, so you've seen your second graders. Talk about from that perspective, how do you as a parent support your second grader after you see those data?
So taking off my teacher hat, it helps me to see that the simple form that we send home to our parents, it helps me understand exactly where my daughter is at in her reading, in her math, and what I can do to help her at home to get better in the skills that she's going to be tested in.
Have you communicated with your child's teacher?
Very much.
Yeah. No, good. All right, Kara or Casey, coming back to you. Let's go down to science and talk about this from a parent perspective. So you have two sixth graders of your own. You have twins, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir,
So,
I do.
talk about this. If this was, if this was reflective of your twins in science, they were at 193 and now they've improved a little bit to 197. What are you thinking as a parent? What does that say to you?
I'm going to be very happy. I'm going to see some growth there, which is really good. And maybe I want to tie in the science with the math, because this is telling me that my child would be doing good in science. And maybe possibly provide cross-curricular activities and lessons for them that ties into the science as well.
Yep. Another thing I would notice here for you, the parent, is your child is performing above the national average. So
absolutely,
they're actually, at least in the area of science, doing pretty well.
Yes.
Good. So, all right, ladies, Kara, Casey, other words of wisdom. Kara, we'll come back to you. As you think about elementary parents and looking at these data, if they have questions or thoughts, what other pieces of wisdom might you share with a parent tonight?
The wonderful thing that's on this form that we send home on parents is there's a list of questions on the back side of that paper that a lot of people don't really know about. And I remind my parents, turn that paper over and let's look at those questions together and let's take those apart. And that really helps them understand the things that I'm talking to them about before we ever break apart the data. So I really encourage parents to do that.
You've said that a lot tonight, and that is reach out to the teacher. I think that is one thing that we don't emphasize enough, is how important it is that mom and dad or grandparent, whoever the adults are in the lives of kids, that you reach out to teachers. And as you can hear tonight, parents, teachers want that. We can't educate kids alone. It takes a partnership with our parents. Casey, what about you? Sometimes middle school kids don't necessarily like parents to get engaged with their teachers. What words of wisdom might you share with some middle school parents tonight?
You're right. Sometimes they don't at first. But what I would like to say is that a lot of times middle school kids become more okay with it once they figure out that you're trying to work with their parents as a team to individualize the instruction for them. And when they realize that we're all on the same team. We all want them not to just meet their goals, but far exceed those. And when that happens, they're okay. They're all of a sudden okay with mom talking to the teacher, and they enjoy it. They really enjoy it.
Oh, good. And I think, to your point, when everyone sees that it's for the benefit of the kid, they enjoy it, and absolutely. So good. Hey, ladies, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for what you do for our kids every single day. It makes a difference. And I appreciate the encouragement that you gave to our parents tonight. So now we're going to transition to high school, and we are going to talk about educational planning. There is many times when our students, our children, transition from middle school to high school. Sometimes as parents, we feel like we may need to back away and allow kids to be a bit more on their own. And while that may be true in some areas, our children still need us from their freshman year all the way through their senior year. One of the primary ways is we develop their educational plan. So I've got two experts that are going to join us tonight to talk about what is an educational plan, and then how do you as a parent support your child along their journey through high school. So Tran Lee is a counselor at Odessa High School. So Tran, thank you for joining us tonight. And then Karina Escajeda is a counselor at Permian High School. And so ladies, thank you for being with us tonight. Tran, I want to start with you, and that is, what is an educational plan?
So educational planning is an annual process with students, parents, teachers, and counselors. We go over graduation requirements. We help students evaluate their transcripts so that they can identify and recognize their academic progress. And we go over the importance of classes, advanced placement classes, dual credit, dual enrollment, and other rigorous courses. We talk about the importance of their GPA and ranking. And we talk about everything that we offer here at the high school level, whether it's through the career technical education pathways or athletics or fine arts programs.
Trent, when do you do that? Does that start in the 8th grade or 9th grade? When does that occur?
Yes, we start in 8th grade, and we do it every year throughout the school.
Okay. Karina, so those parents of high school freshmen, so really I guess we're focused on 8th grade parents as we think about beginning that educational plan. How do you, as a high school counselor, communicate with 8th grade parents? Karina, what does that look like?
Well, first we meet with the students at the middle school. We go out and we tell them everything we have to offer in high school. There are so many classes that they may not be aware of, or so many options they may not know of. So we want to tell them about if they can take dual credit, what classes can they take as 9th grade? Or if they want to take rigorous classes, what advanced classes do we have available for them? Last week we talked with, or you did a live with CTE. Mm-hmm. And it's very important for them to know that we have over 30 CTE pathways. So they may not know all the pathways that are available. So we cover that every single year. We always send something home so that parents can see what their child has chosen, or maybe let them know all the options they have. And we also, with the new program that we have, we also encourage the parents to sign in and see the classes that their child has chosen, and just explore, all the classes that we have, and actually plan beyond high school for college and career-wise.
So Karina, is this plan, is this a document? Is this an online, what is this thing that is created? Okay,
well, we used to have course cards. So it was just basically a piece of paper. We had all the classes on there, and they would go in there and circle the classes that they wanted to choose, and we would go back and enter those courses in our system. So now we have a new program where they actually go in, and it's a software where they can see all their classes, but the best thing is that they can see their plan all the way through high school. So every year when they visit this, they can see what they're going to take next year, but also plan ahead and see the future years.
Yeah. So are you talking about Naviance? Is that what you're talking? So we have a brand new program that we just brought to ECISD called Naviance, and some parents, some of you may be familiar with that, and others may not be. Tran, tell us a little bit about what is Naviance and what does it do for our kids and our families?
So like Karina mentioned, it's a change in modality. We are moving away from the course cards, the traditional paper and pen, and we're taking on this innovative tool that will allow students, whether they're on campus or remote learners, to have control over their academic plan. So it's a new program that we've taken on, and students and parents can log in and see the credits that they've earned over the years. They can see all the classes that we offer here, and they can see their GPA, their ranking, and pick and choose classes on their own with the support of their counselor.
You used an interesting word, Tran. You used the word ownership. Who owns the educational plan of a student?
Well, we want to empower students to have ownership over their own plan, and counselors, we're here to support them and to support parents along the way. But we really want to empower our students to take on that ownership.
Yep. And I think that to your point, we want our kids to own their educational plan, but they're still high school students.
Yes.
And so that's where mom and dad, you really are critical in this growth and development. The student may own the plan, but you are the parent, and being involved in that process with your child, I think is critical. Casey, I want to come back to you and talk about, I'm the parent of a high school freshman. What should my level of engagement be as the freshman parent in this process? Maybe what questions should I be asking my child? How do I get involved in this educational planning for my kid as a freshman?
Well, some of the questions that you can ask is, of course, what is available for my child coming next year? So middle school students may not know all the options again. Parents can help ask, what classes are available. The best thing to do is reach out to the high school counselor to the school they're going to. We have, of course, OHS Permian, but we have 3 other high schools that have different options than we do at Odessa High School and Permian High School. So the best thing to do is to reach out to the school that they apply at and go to, so they can see all the classes that are available. They're also able to get on into Naviance and look through their child's plan, the plan that we helped them create. We want them to take classes that they enjoy, so that they can stay engaged in their classes and they're not, just taking random electives. We want them to take something they really enjoy doing and perhaps explore some professions they'll take on later on after high school.
So hence, it's a plan. It's not just organized chaos or disorganized chaos in a sense. There's actually a plan, and we want our kids to have experiences as they travel through high school, but very planned and structured as they go through that process. You also said something interesting. We have 5 high schools in ECISD, and they each offer something different. So a student at Permian High School would have different audience or different options potentially from than a student from Odessa High School and OC Techs, et cetera, et cetera. So different options at different high schools. Parents, make sure you're paying attention. Tran, let's talk about a sophomore and a junior. So I'm the parent of a sophomore and a junior. What are the kinds of things as a sophomore, junior parent that I should be paying attention to, kinds of questions I should be asking my child?
I think it's important to look at their academic progress and plan accordingly, to see. I think educational planning is an opportunity for students and parents to identify strengths and areas of improvement. And, students can take on more rigorous classes if that's something that they're interested in. And for students who have fallen behind, to have that discussion about credit recovery. So I encourage students and parents to have that discussion with their counselor.
Yep. No, great point, Tran. Some students, by the time they reach their sophomore, junior year, maybe they've fallen behind a credit. And so by following through with that plan, you can make sure that in 4 years, they can still attain that high school graduation, because there are opportunities to make up credits as they travel through their sophomore and junior year. And so, Karina, I'm the parent of a senior. Talk about that. What are the things that I should be paying attention to as the parent of a senior? What types of questions as well?
Okay, so once they get to their senior year, of course, we're looking beyond high school. We want them to start looking at colleges, start applying for financial aid. We'd like for them to have FAFSA filled out. We have them go through Naviance and maybe explore some of the careers that are there. There's also a career cluster finder, and what that does, it's an inventory so that students can see what profession they're likely to go on into based on their interests. So we like for them to go ahead and start planning for college, and we help them with all those pieces. Maybe take SATs, take the TSI. If they're in dual credit, we're already preparing them to take college level classes.
High school is filled with deadlines. How does the parent keep up with all of these deadlines? Any wisdom there, Karina?
Well, we sure do have a lot of deadlines. The best information is going to be, of course, on our website. Parent Portal has a lot of useful information there for parents. And if you ever have a question, please give us a call and ask, any one of us. If you have any questions as far as the classes, if you reach any counselor at Permian, we'll be willing to help you. We'll point you in the right direction.
Good. Tran, we've talked a little bit about Naviance tonight. One of the things that Karina just mentioned, it also has a career finder opportunity. So an assessment that allows a kid to kind of answer some questions, and then it provides some interesting career choices and explorations for kids. What else does Naviance provide just for students and parents that they might find interesting?
Well, there's a ton of resources within that platform. It's college and career friendly. And so students can watch videos and teachers can interact with them through that website to help them figure out some of their strengths and interests. And that will help them plan accordingly when it comes to educational planning.
Where else should a parent go, Tran? Yeah, so I heard Karina say, call us, the counselors. You can come to us for assistance. Certainly Naviance is a tool that our parents can access. Where else would you send a parent of a freshman through senior just to find out some things that they should be paying attention to, or just to get information in general?
The ECISD guidance and counseling website will have and provide a ton of resources and information to help parents and students plan for their academic years. So
ECISD website, definitely. And does Odessa High School have a counseling website?
Yes, we do. We have a college and career school website. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Karina, Permian, I think I actually saw the website posted for Permians a few minutes ago. So yes.
Yes, and we also have the district guidance and curriculum department. So you can go to that for a lot of information over classes. And then we have our own, each college counselor has their own website with a lot of useful information.
Great, good. So call a counselor, visit Naviance, visit the ECISD website for information. It sounds like all of our high schools have counseling websites with information, but I think a big message tonight is stay engaged, parents. Our kids at the middle school and high school level may not want your involvement, but what we're sharing with you tonight is your involvement is critical, and they need you, especially through high school on this educational journey. Pretty important. Final words of wisdom for our parents that are watching tonight. Tran, let's start with you. What final words of wisdom would you give to our parents?
Like you mentioned, communicate with counselors, and I think it takes a village to help these students be successful. So communication is key.
Yeah, absolutely. Karina, what about you? Words of wisdom for our parents.
The same. We want to be able to collaborate with the students as much as the parents. They're the ones that are going to be their biggest supporters, and they're going to motivate them to take classes, more rigorous classes, and just push them like we're trying to do here at the high school also. And like I said, if we can have students take classes that they enjoy, they're more likely to finish and continue on after high school.
Good. Hey, thanks, ladies. You do an awesome job in supporting our kids every day. And we know that both of you are part of a much larger team. We actually, in ECISD, one of the things that we do is at the elementary, middle school, and high school level, our children have access to counselors at every single level. And that is not normal in districts across this country, but in ECISD, it's the right thing to do. So thank you, ladies, for what you do every day in support of our kids. We appreciate it. And parents, thank you for joining us tonight. I hope that there is one message that you heard loud and clear tonight, and that is that when you have questions or challenges, or you simply want to be engaged in the learning of your children, our teachers and our counselors want to hear from you. We do this work with you for the best interest of your children. And so pick up the phone, contact your child's teacher, contact your child's counselor, visit our website to find out their email information, and send us an email and let us know how together we can work with you, partner with you to take your children along their journey from pre-K all the way through 12th grade. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a good rest of the evening, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks on ECISD Live. Good night.